What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Montana Method Podcast one more time. As always, your host, Nelson Rodriguez Jr., author of The Montana Method. Today, I have a great guest, good friend of mine, known him for a few years now, a gentleman who's breaking the algorithm of social media, an entrepreneur. I admire him very much. He started at a pretty young age, and he's been kicking ass ever since and taking names. He's a gentleman that I met through a self-development course I think I've spoken about before. We'll get into that. He's a guy that's always improving, always getting better, and a guy that honestly I just inspires me a lot. So I'm very excited to introduce him to you guys. Please welcome my good friend Sam Lister.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags.
Nelson, thank you so
What's up,
much
buddy?
for having me on. Thank you.
Good.
I'm pumped to be here.
Definitely, I'm excited to have you. So you're in Colorado now? How's the west side?
Colorado's a dream. Again, grew up snowboarding out here in the mountains specifically. I've had family out here, so when I got the opportunity to move out here last summer, just had to take it, and it's been a dream so far. It's definitely been a huge change. It's pretty much gone through the most life changes in the past 12 months here, both myself, my girlfriend, moving across the country, everything. So it's been blissful though. So I'm excited to get into it.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. Yeah, I've heard Colorado's a pretty interesting place. I've been there once or twice, never stayed long enough to really enjoy the city. I do have one of my best friends that lives in Colorado Springs, if I'm not mistaken. I just saw him for the first time in like 7 years a couple of days ago. It was pretty crazy. Okay. Yeah, it was good to see him. But he's out there. He just had a baby. So shout out to Johnny if he's watching this. So I know recently what I re-engaged with you because you took on a challenge to start a company from nothing in like 3 days. What was the challenge? Wearing the hat, right? That's the brand?
So this is Honey Wax, yes.
Awesome. So tell me about the challenge. How'd you think of it? How'd everything turn out? Tell me about it.
So are you talking about, so I've done a few different challenges. Are you talking about the one that like we were building Honey Wax in 5 days or whatever back in 5, maybe in
build
fall,
a company in 5 days, I think was the...
Yeah, absolutely. So Honey Wax was started by my younger brother, Cal, actually, when he was in middle school. So he was 13 at the time or so. So it's a snowboard and skate wax company. So he started that in middle school and then took probably a 5-6 year break as he was in high school, graduating. And then Cal and I decided to pick back up at the start of this last winter. So like going into the 2022-2023 winter season, we wanted to launch this thing. So I was back in Wisconsin for a little bit, and there was an event at home ski hill that we used to work at. We grew up, so we're super close to like the owners of it. That's where, again, we learned how to snowboard and everything. They were hosting an event in 5 days from the point where we were like in live discussion, and I'm like, how can we sponsor this event? How can we do something for the event? And we had nothing. I had nothing because I was just back visiting family for the holidays a little bit. And me, Cal, my girlfriend, and mom and dad helped out a little bit, but we decided to relaunch the company in 5 days. So we had to make product from scratch, make molds from scratch, get some merch done, like everything just super quick. And it was a super fun little kind of test product. And Honey Wax will kind of be a catalyst of everything we're passionate about formulated into this company. We love skating, we love snowboarding, we love scootering. So it's a chance to blend a bunch of different passions, a bunch of different communities and cultures together as it grows. But again, it was a really fun little like test and kind of get off the ground to get into this season. So yeah, that was fall of 22, which was super fun. And now we're cooking and getting ready for next season.
That's awesome, man. That's super cool. Yeah, you're a guy. Every time I see you on social media, you're always is challenging yourself and trying to do something new and fresh and bring a something like a fresh perspective of something into your life to grow. And I really admire that about you. I know now you're also in the middle of another challenge of the 100-day challenge, which is pretty cool. I've been watching it on TikTok and Instagram. So, what day are you on?
This is day 29.
Day 29. Okay. So
Yep.
for the people watching, what's the 100-day challenge that you're doing?
So originally it started off as a way to just build a routine for myself because since moving here to Colorado from Wisconsin pretty much 12 months ago, I haven't been able to build a solid routine for myself just because the chaos of moving, the chaos of restructuring, rebuilding everything about your life. I recently sold my last company, so that's way different too. So the past 12 months have just been spent adjusting to a new life and building a new life. So in the process of that, it's really hard to get into a solid routine and day-to-day routine. And that's something that has helped me in the past. And I just wanted to challenge myself to get back into a routine of any sort, of any structure, because right now I don't work for anyone. I don't have any rules. I don't need to listen to anyone. So I don't need to do anything every day.
Right.
So I found myself kind of just floating and wandering in space and just figuring this shit out, which was my intention. But I figured it's time to get back to a routine. So I decided to do 100 cold plunges every morning. I try to do it every morning. Sometimes it ends up being later. I'm lifting 1,000,000 pounds, so that's 10,000 pounds a day, doing sauna, hot tub, and learning something new. So the main three ones are lifting 10,000 pounds a day, doing cold plunge, and learning something new. Hot tub and sauna are just recovery, and that's much more fun and easy on the body than 34-degree cold plunges. But it's a way to push every aspect of my body physically, mentally, emotionally, and it's a way to just stay consistent and hold myself accountable. So it's less of a content series and more just a radical accountability challenge for myself and only myself. And I happen to be creating content around it. So I guess the last part of that is I'm making a new video every day for the next 100 days. So at the end of it, I'll have 100 mini movies that I've made and have inspired. And again, it helps me build the creative momentum of getting back into creating again, because it's something I haven't really done in the past 12 months or so.
You know, something that's coming to mind now that I didn't realize, you were the first person that I spoke to that talked to me about documenting the process. And at the time when we spoke about this, it must have been like November 2019. Maybe we were doing part 2 of the training course we did together. I think so. Anyway, so you had spoken about the importance of not only, when you're successful, creating content that people will find attractive and all this stuff, and the car you have and where you live and all that's cool. What's really interesting is documenting the process of getting there, because people see how you started at point A with nothing, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years later, you've built all this momentum and you've built all these things from nothing. And now you're in a totally different space in life. And people can't sit here and be like, oh, yeah, you're lucky. No. Hold on. You can go to my YouTube channel. You can go to my Instagram. You can go to wherever you want. And if you scroll down a little bit and you look back 2, 3, 4 years, I was in your same position. I was actually worse off than you were. And guess what? I didn't sit here and bitch and moan. And I didn't sit here and say, this guy's lucky. I decided to figure it out. You know what I mean? So I love that about you. And that's a big reason why I started the podcast. I wanted to document the process. You know what I mean? So it's documenting the process itself. You got it. The process is what turns you into the person worthy of achieving the goal, right? So if it wasn't for that process that happens inside you while you're pursuing that goal, you would never be able to achieve it, right? So I think being able to go back and see like, wow, I remember that day. Well, man, yeah, that's the day I had a flat tire and I was trying to make it to that meeting and I had to like call my friend to come pick, those crazy stories that all of us have, it's cool to go back and be able to see that, you know what I mean? So I've recently come up with a saying. Someone told me, man, your life sounds chaotic. And I said, no, my life's not chaotic. I improvise for a living. And that's why I make things happen. You know what I mean? And you're one of those guys that reminds me of that lifestyle. Like, figuring it out is a part of our fiber. It's just a part of who we are. We don't look at something that's not created yet, or some sort of whatever that we want to do, create a company, create a concept. Me personally, I'm in the middle of juggling a few things. I'm writing a second book. I'm writing a comic book. And now recently, like, I had an idea for a podcast network, and I'm going to actually start pursuing that. And I'm not a person that I look at that and I say, man, there's no way I could do that. No. I've figured this out a million times, and I'll figure this out too. You know what I mean? We're the last of a dying breed, I would say.
It's simply about wrapping your identity around being the learner and being a learner. And I think that's perfect. And that's all you need in life. As long as you can learn and you have the ability to learn, you can do anything, because you can learn anything. Obviously, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes hours, it takes a lot of fucking work, but you can learn anything you want. So, like, drawing it back to the tactical of like this 100-day series, like, that's why learning something new is part of the series, because in business, it's very easy to learn something new. Because everything's new, especially if you haven't built a business before. But overall, It's pretty boring shit. It's pretty boring stuff, learning how to build a business and like talking about that stuff. So this series, I wanted to do something different. So teaching myself how to scooter and how to embroider. Those are two big things right now, and trying to buy a house. But like things that are outside of my normal day-to-day, like stuff that I have no business in doing. Like, I don't need to learn how to scooter. I don't need to go to the skate park every day and spend hours there. I definitely spend more time at the skate park than actually working in this season of life, and that's amazing, and I love it. And I think it's allowed myself to tap into a creative mindset that I wouldn't have gotten before sitting at a desk building away, because I don't think all of us are bored enough. We don't let our minds wander and allow ourselves to play enough. So scootering for me is a chance to learn something new. It has real consequences to get hurt. And it's something that it's like, I feel that spark again, learning something new from scratch, really, and something that's just completely out of the day-to-day. So I've found that's helped me a ton, outside of obviously the skill of learning how to scooter, which I really can't apply that skill to any other part of my life. But it works because it just allows myself to free my mind and get in a different headspace. So I think that's super valuable just for the conversation we're having, for you listening, like, getting in that different perspective, doing something you love with no attachment to the results, no attachment to the goals, no reason to do it besides you just love to do whatever that is. Do more of that, because I think the best ideas, the best thoughts come from you being in that state of mind, that state of flow.
For sure. So I recently picked up yoga a few months ago. And when I started, I actually really just started because a friend was doing it and he's in fantastic shape. And I said, all right, why, whatever, I'll do it. And he taught me how to do it. And now I can do it on my own in the mornings. And the amount of progress I've made in a few short months is pretty crazy. Like before, I'd bend down and I'd try to touch my toes and I probably wouldn't get past my knees. And now I can touch the floor. You know what I mean? It's crazy, the amount of progress. Why though? Because I did it almost every single day. I did it 5 to 6 times a week. And now someone will see me doing yoga and they'll think that I've been doing it for years. And I think immersion is a big part of that, right? Like when you immerse yourself in something and you really practice it and do it over and over and over again, there's a process that goes on mentally and within you that it allows you to see different things from a different perspective. Me personally, when I do yoga, ideas come to me it happens to me all the time. I'm so focused on doing the yoga that my brain is pretty much empty and I'm just focused on one single thing, and ideas for other things will come to me. It's happened to me a dozen times already. It's so the creativity about doing something new, I can relate. I can totally relate for sure. 100%.
You brought something up. I don't want to leave just yet. The act of like your mind is open when you do yoga. That's what you're focused on. That's what you're present in. I think
Right.
that being, if we can all live in that being of just openness and presentness more than anything,
Mm.
I think us being present allows space in our brain to wander and not be so fucking caught up with everything, because when we're not present, we're thinking, we're living in our
Mm.
heads, and we're thinking about so much shit that it's super hard to clear your thoughts and get those good ideas and be inspired, because all of that just happens in the brain. But the second we're present and we can start living in now, not just living in our heads, it allows space in our brains to come up with those inspiring ideas, those creative ideas. And that's kind of like the state of flow I've tried to tap into every single day. And that's the state of flow I try to live in as much as humanly possible. And that's why I haven't worked in a year. I haven't created in a year. I've been trying to free my mind from the past 7 years of just grueling fucking work, to try to give myself space, my brain space. And it's been a really hard process. It's just been a long process to declutter my brain in a sense, because it's something that's not tangible. It's not like
Mm.
cleaning out a closet. It's not like, okay, this weekend I'll clean out my brain. It's like it's just a constant evolution of finding yoga, finding cold plunges, finding scootering, and finding areas of those things where it lights up certain parts of the brains and cleans it out almost.
Yep.
And sometimes it's hard to articulate that, but again, overall, it comes down to that feeling of flow. That you can get in yoga, you can get in cold plunges, you can get in so many different things, but finding that finding that flow state is so important, because it's magic. It truly is.
It definitely is. For me, I'm a person that's been in that state, and then I've been a person who's lost it and been trying to get back into it, right? So I understand both perspectives. And the main thing for me, if this serves anyone, being present, I catch myself doing 3 or 4 things at the same time, and I got to meet deadlines, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. I just stop for a second and I pay attention to one thing in the single moment. I'm like, all right, hold on. All right, it's 5 o'clock. Okay, let me pay it. And I just take, and again, come present. It's like, and that just shying away from the issue at hand and just centering myself back in my brain. At the end of those 10 or 15 seconds, when I just stop and I let everything go, it's funny. Like, so all of a sudden, the same thing, the solutions will come to me. I'm trying to build this sales deck, and I don't know how to write this thing on this presentation, and all of a sudden I just step away, and it's, oh wait, okay. So if I go here and I look for this and I call this guy, he knows that it's I don't even know how to explain it, man. It's something about centering the mind. The mind is such an interesting thing, right? Because it can be your best friend or your worst enemy, and at the same time, you're the one that controls the mind. And if you're not conscious, it can control you. So there's always that battle, right? That internal like struggle for control between your ego and your higher self. It's consciousness is a crazy thing. I talk about a lot in my book, like awareness. If you're not aware and you're not conscious, your life can run amok, and you won't even know who's controlling you. It won't even be you. It'll be some unknown force in your mind just running your life. And if you're not aware of it, your life can end up in pretty crazy places.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I'm a person that I thank God that I met mentors, and I started diving into improving and personal development, because it's been able to teach me processes as far as catching myself and catching the brain, the mind when it goes into those places. I heard a quote a long time ago that has to do with what I'm saying. I don't want to mess it up. I think it's David Goggins. He said, the person you want to be is on the other side of breaking down and renewing your mind. I think I said it right. Yeah, I think that's exactly how it is. Breaking down and renewing your mind. And it could be such a painful process, man. Such a painful process.
But it's necessary. It's necessary, and you can do it at any time. Your brain is malleable. Like
Yeah.
that's, I think, the coolest thing about being human, that we have consciousness and we have the ability to expand that consciousness and learn more and expand our brain power and expand our capacity for everything in all aspects of life. And I think
Mm.
no other species on Earth can do that. So it's like, why
Yep.
wouldn't you take advantage of it? But again, it comes down to awareness. That's the first step.
For sure. So, me personally, something I wanted to ask you, right? So in Wisconsin, you started was the social media company your first business?
Yeah, it was a videography company.
Videography company. Okay. So
Yep.
were you an outlier out there? Were there people like you? Because in Miami, I'll tell you just so you have comparison. In Miami, I wouldn't say everybody's an entrepreneur, but if you're an entrepreneur and you have something going on, it's not a rare occurrence, right? But in Wisconsin, I've never really even been there. I don't know what it's like. So tell me a little bit about becoming an entrepreneur at 18 in Wisconsin and what the environment was like.
Yeah, take Miami and just do the exact opposite, and then you have Wisconsin.
Okay, got it.
Geographically, like everything, just flip it on its head, and it's like, yep, that's Wisconsin. So think about any and every aspect of Miami specifically, and just picture the opposite, and it's Wisconsin. So that's pretty accurate. Outlier, yes. Everyone went to college from my high school, pretty much. Grew up in suburbia. Everyone went to college, get a job, moved back to the same bubble, and just small town living. Not a bunch of people bashed into the walls, but I was grateful and lucky enough to have both grandparents be entrepreneurs. That also led to my parents being entrepreneurs and running their own companies and businesses and working for yourself. And so that kind of entrepreneurial seed, I didn't have to do much convincing for, I guess, like, to let my parents let me pursue it, because again, my dad runs his own company. My mom and dad have run their own companies in the past. Again, grandma and grandpa both have. So definitely lucked out on the family I've grown up in from an entrepreneurial standpoint. But yeah, no one was doing this shit where we were. There's a small creative scene. I hired one of my best friends who taught me pretty much everything about camera stuff, and he was my first employee in the company, and yeah, taught me video. And again, like you said, I had a few really solid mentors kind of in the scene. So there's I guess a double-edged sword. Yes, like Milwaukee and everything is like Milwaukee is the biggest city in Wisconsin, so that's luckily where I grew up. I didn't grow up in the complete farmville of nowhere of Wisconsin, where most of Wisconsin is. I grew up in Milwaukee, so it's a little more civil. But there's a few really solid connections I made in the city because it was so tight knit. Again, Miami's huge, New York's huge, Chicago's big, LA's huge, but Milwaukee was the perfect size of, it had some stuff going on, some tech, some business, some startups, some media. I wasn't the first person or first company by any means to do kind of this space, but I just got in at the right time and made the right connections because everyone's pretty well connected in Milwaukee. So it's like once you got into the space, it grew really quickly. So I was really grateful for those early connections to kind of expand my network and meet the right people, because without that, it would have been way fucking harder. But yeah, where I grew up, the life I grew up is definitely opposite of Miami though. Love Miami, but it's yeah, complete opposite.
Freezing cold.
Yep.
Like, oh my God.
Yep.
I can't even. God bless you guys. Those winters when it's like negative 27 degrees out, and oh man, I can't do it. I'd take the heat of the summer in Miami over the freezing cold winter of Wisconsin any day of the week. I can't.
Well, 100%. We were just in Miami a few weeks, maybe last month. Month for a little bit. We were supposed to go up to Montreal, but that plan got changed to Miami. and so blessed.
Cool.
So blessed. It was fucking beautiful. It was amazing. I'm like, yeah, I've missed Miami. I haven't been back since probably 2020. So it was the first time in a
Wow.
few years. So I definitely missed the city. So I will be back, and we'll have to link next time. Next time
Definitely,
I'm
yeah.
back.
Give me a call when you're back. We'll do something. We'll catch up for
100%.
sure. How's your mom doing?
She's doing well. She says hi. I was telling her we just connected today. Just gave her a call, and yeah, she said hi. I'm like, yeah, I'm hopping on Nelson's podcast after. She's like, Nelson. Tell him I say hi. So she's chilling.
She's still back in Wisconsin?
Yep, in Wisconsin.
Okay.
She's
Cool.
she's working head of like customer success and operations at Slate, my old company. So I don't know if you knew that. So that's kind of cool. She
That's
likes
awesome.
that. And yeah, she's learning kind of social and video and like that whole world I've been in for a while, and I've dedicated my life to building. So yeah, it's cool seeing her, watching her learn kind of the industry that I'm in and company I've built and stuff. So hanging in there though.
That's awesome. You're a testament because you remind me so much of myself when I first met you when you were maybe 19, I think. You
Probably
were 18,
yeah.
19, probably.
I'm 23 now, so probably 19, 20
Yeah.
maybe.
So like 19, and I saw so much of myself in you because I started really young too. I started my first company when I was 18. And it's to be an entrepreneur at that age, you really have to go against the grain. I mean, to become an entrepreneur at any age, really, because everybody has a job, everybody's, has that 95%er mentality, and 99%er mentality, I would say, of just going to work, getting a paycheck, and not really going after what you want in life. You know what I mean? So I could relate with you 100% because I was that kid at 18 trying to do something big and start a company and doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing. And, I unfortunately didn't really have much support. That there wasn't that many entrepreneurs in my family. I do have a couple entrepreneurs in my family, but they don't live in Miami. So it wasn't like I had any mentors or anything like that. Luckily, I was very blessed to meet a few very successful people who were in the same industry. And I guess they just saw the passion in me and they let me learn from them. And I was pretty blessed. I got to learn from some, 7-figure earners, 8-figure earners. And throughout my life, I never lost that hunger to learn. You know what I mean? Going back to what you said, learning was so important. Being willing to be humble and say, okay, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in front of a person that knows what they're doing, is an expert, is very successful. Let me listen to this person instead of just saying, yeah, I want to do it this way. You know what I mean? So I'm a person that if I don't know what I'm doing, I'll be quick to be the first one to admit it and step aside and let whoever knows what they're doing do what they do. I think I've seen it too often where people aren't willing to say that out loud and just admit for a second that they don't know what they're doing. And that kind of pride kind of crushes them. You know what I mean? And then obviously you have the embarrassing process. Well, it's not embarrassing to me anymore, but it was at one point of starting to learn something new where you suck and you fail and you're not good at it and it's going to take time to get good. So from one standpoint, I can definitely relate to you because I was that crazy kid trying to make something happen. And that's why I admire you so much because at that age to be willing to, I mean, obviously you could take risks because you don't have a family yet, you're not married, you don't have kids, so that's the time to take the risk, right? But just to do it in spite of what everybody says and that kind of stuff, it's commendable, especially at such a young age. You know what I mean? It's not common. It's not common at all. That's for sure.
Thank you. And it's also the easiest time to be an entrepreneur in history.
Definitely.
It's the coolest.
Definitely.
It's the easiest. Like, I think we'll just see that trend continue. I think we're at a really interesting point when there's a whole generation, like Gen Z, Gen Alpha, like coming up with AI, with tools, with social media. Like, it is so advanced and will continue to move so much faster and so much faster. Everyone likes to bitch like AI will take our jobs, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, AI is a helper. Yeah, it'll take a lot of jobs that aren't needed. Cool. We don't need to pay people to do those things and they can spend their time doing other better things. But like kids know tech, kids know AI, kids know how to use all of these technologies to create their own jobs, to create their own companies. And I'm excited to see that because again, there's so much cool tech in the future that just, again, lowers the barrier of entry even lower, meaning it's easier and easier to start with the information we have, with the technology we have. Yeah, there's really no gatekeepers anymore. As long as you have the internet, as long as that's it, you just need the internet. That's becoming more accessible and more accessible. Yeah, shit's open up a world of possibilities that is not stopped anytime soon. So I'm excited to see the next fucking 13-year-old build $1 billion company or some crazy shit.
No, that's what's crazy. The new businesses that come out all the time, I hear of businesses I never even thought were possible. You know what I mean? Like the other day, I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw this guy who built a 7-figure company on consult. He's like consults YouTubers on how to get sponsorships. I was like, there's a company that gets like what? And then it took me down this rabbit hole. I guess YouTube picked up an algorithm where it just kept up like new businesses that have never been thought of or whatever. Some dude is making, I don't know how much money being a Tinder consultant. Like, bro, it's these jobs I never thought would exist. It's crazy. And it just makes me think like, wow. So I never thought of that. Nobody ever thought of that. That guy thought of that. He made a lot of money. So what other concepts are out there that no one's thought of that someone's going to make millions, if not billions of dollars off of? The possibilities really are endless, right? Because if I didn't think of that and we're in 2023 and that guy's making that much money, that means we're just getting access to this kind of technology. We're just getting access to this generation who has these ideas. So how much farther can it multiply? You know what I mean? It really is. If you think about it, the possibilities are nuts, you know, and then new things that come out. Now we have AI, and now we're going to have people who learn how to use this AI and teach other people how to use it. And then before you know it, that becomes a whole industry. And then it's a never ending. People don't realize that when one door closes, 80 open. There's so many more. Okay. AI learned how to do data entry and do a bunch of boring shit that you didn't want to do anyway. You're complaining and bitching and moaning that the AI took your job when you hated that job in the first place. How about now you learn how to use the AI, right? And then you become an entrepreneur who uses this technology to benefit other people. You know what I mean? Like, that's just my perspective. You know, I always see the opportunity in the obstacle, not the obstacle in the opportunity. That's just my perspective. So I'm with you. The possibilities are pretty crazy. And me personally, even using it, you know what I mean? Like using AI recently, I've seen what it can do, and it's just nuts. Like what a video editor would take a whole day to do, AI can do in half an hour. You know, it's it's just
even
insane.
less.
It's pretty crazy.
And it's all around us, and people think AI is new. Like it drives all of our cars, it drives our phones, like it's powering this conversation. AI is all around us. It is not new, but it allows you to have a team that used to take 50 people to build something, and now it takes yourself and a few hours on the internet to learn what tools are out there, because AI has all the tools. It's not like it's just one AI is one single tool. It can do anything you need it to eventually, with the actual companies building the AI. Like AI doesn't just magically appear out of pixie dust. Humans need to build that, and it's scary because we're getting to a point where the computers can build themselves and communicate with themselves, and we can't understand the computers. So we won't go down that rabbit hole, but maybe that's next year's conversation as the space evolves. But yeah, crazy opportunities all across the board and everything. Best time to be alive by far.
Definitely. I'm with you 150%. It's never been easier to be discovered. It's never been easier to start a company. It's never been easier to go after what you want in life. It's a great example would be, you know, I have friends that are artists nowadays, and their music is on YouTube, and it's on Spotify, and it's on all these different platforms. Whereas someone as famous as an Eminem or whoever, you know, any rapper that's huge, the things they had to do to get noticed by people who had the power to put their music out there was insane. You know, it came down to chance and being at the right place at the right time and meeting the right person. So nowadays, when you have all of this technology, there's just no excuse. You can really do it on your own with almost no experience. And if you don't have experience, you can literally just look up information and learn how to do something from scratch. Going after what you want in life, that's what I'm all about. That's my message. You gotta do what you want with your life. Judgment happens. People judge you whether you do something or you don't do something. You're getting judged right now while you don't do it, so you might as well do what you want anyway. You know what I mean? So just do what you want. Do what sets your soul on fire. So important to me. I love it. Yeah, that's just me personally. I'm the type of person that I can live with saying, okay, that didn't work out, but I can't live with saying, what if I would have done this? What would have happened if I did this and I didn't do this? I'd beat myself up for the rest of my life. So I'm definitely a person who's okay with failing and taking a risk versus never taking the risk and always wondering what would have happened. It's risk taking, I think, is like my superpower. I take too much risk sometimes.
But me.
Hey. Yeah,
that's the only way to live. Only way to live. Got to take risks.
Definitely.
What else is there to lose?
What's give me a story. What's like the craziest risk you've taken maybe recently or ever, whatever you want to talk about?
It's a great question. I don't know if I've ever been asked that. I'm thinking because there's so many different risks. There's financial risks of different investments and putting money in places and not working for a year and like just allowing the universe to like make decisions for you almost. There's certain risks of, should I drop this 25, 30-foot cliff on a snowboard when I don't really know what's under me? Yeah, let's do it. I think there's enough snow. So there's that type of risks. There's different business risks to go all in on all of this shit.
Right.
And I just continually go all in on all of this shit. That's what I love to do. There's never a time when I'm not just investing everything I have back into this whole fucking game we're playing in some capacity. So it's just a way of literally living. I don't have like any crazy, like there's skydiving, there's that risk that I've done. And so like, that's what I mean. There's so many different types of risks out there. There's health risks, there's financial risks. I don't know. I ate a few sleeves of Ritz crackers the other day. That's a pretty big fucking risk for my health. But no, like in all seriousness, like if you don't take risks, like you live in a fucking bubble and you'll be unknowingly miserable for your whole life if you just live in that bubble and never take risks and never try. And it's not a way to live because I think humans are built on risks. We're built. And it's funny you bring that up because it's you unlock something. And this is something I was thinking about literally like this morning on I dropped my girlfriend at a workout class and I was thinking like, why do I love scootering and snowboarding so much? It's because you can get really fucking hurt doing it. If you're 45 feet above a jump and fall a certain way, if you're bombing through the trees and you find a cliff, and like there's a lot of shit that can go wrong, but I love that adrenaline. I love that feeling of like, whew, don't fuck up or you're gonna get really, really hurt. And I think living on that's obviously just like me loving adrenaline, but like having that risk, having that increased level of risk heightens, I think, your awareness, and it makes you ultra aware of your surroundings at 100% of the time. Going back earlier to the conversation of like being present in yoga and cold plunge, in snowboarding and anything, those obviously yoga and snowboarding are pretty dramatically different. Same level of awareness sometimes, but for me, I love that level of like, I need to be aware, or if I'm not aware, I get really hurt. And it's a different level, and it's a different feeling in my mind. It's a different feeling of awareness than other parts of my life in awareness. So I'm glad you asked the risk question because it allows me to think about like, why do I love those risks where it risks my health and my life of like, I've known people who died doing these things. Why do I keep doing it? Because it's fucking awesome. And I love the feeling, and it's a dopamine rush I can't describe. And I think it comes down to just living with risks, taking risks, because that's the only way to live a truly fulfilling life. So I love it, and I think that's beautifully said.
I'm with you. There's a, I forgot where I saw it. Elon Musk said something. Someone asked him, what's the formula to your success or something along those lines, and he said, I started PayPal. I got paid $100 million when we sold it. Then I took every single cent of that money and I invested it back into my new company. And I went from having $100 million to being broke. And then that was a massive success because I worked and worked and worked, and I had that work out. And then when that worked out, I took all that money and I put it in something else. At the end of the, saying that like 4 or 5 times for 4 or 5 different companies that he's started, he said the formula is keep all the chips on the table at all times and work, because you're going to lose everything if it doesn't work out. He was, you want to talk about risk. I mean, this guy sold PayPal and made $100 million. So I think at that point, I would have bought some real estate and called it a day. But this guy, his vision for what he wanted for his life was just different. It was so different. He was a rare breed. He really was the 1%. And he said, I want more than this. I can do more than this. I can have a bigger vision. I can do other things. And that guy took all his money and kept going. And now he's got Tesla and SpaceX. And
well, that was the decision. It was to which one to let survive, Tesla or SpaceX or Solar City. And those were his 3 that he put, I think, 50 mil, and 20 mil. I think it was 120 mil from PayPal.
Yeah.
And both Tesla and SpaceX weren't supposed to survive, and that's what everyone was telling him. Like, put your money in one of these things because you cannot build both of them. And he's like, no, like both need to be built. So I'm gonna try. Like, no one's done it before, yeah, but like no one's done what I've already done before a few decades ago. So yeah, Elon's fucking crazy. That's about it. Love him.
It worked out.
And works harder than anyone else on the planet.
At $200 billion later, you know what I mean? I think it worked out.
That's just a number. It's just a number, and it's like no one. He doesn't give a shit about it. People give a shit about it, obviously, but like you don't keep working after that if you're motivated at all by the dollar,
by the money. Of course,
you don't need it. Obviously, if you need money to write a $44 billion check to buy Twitter, yeah, that helps. But like, I'm a firm believer in like, I think the things he's building, SpaceX, Tesla, everything is meant to push humanity forward. And that's a really expensive fucking thing to do to evolve humanity, I assume.
Definitely.
And yeah, I support no one else more to do it.
Yeah, it's at that point. I'd love to be a fly in the wall, because those meetings and at that level, when you can stroke a check for $47 billion and buy the second largest social media company in the world, that's
yeah,
that's a unique experience.
We'll see how the next decade unfolds. I'm excited for the social warfare that's already happening.
For sure, yeah, for sure. Speaking of social media, okay, so what's your favorite platform? Why? What do you see happening in the future?
Hate them all. I deleted all social media off my phone.
Look at that.
I just have it on my iPad to post. Yeah, I got sick of them. I don't have any socials on my phone. I don't have YouTube, Instagram, Threads, anything. So I understand the importance of social, obviously. Everything that I've built, I've done. I think I credit social media for being a huge, I guess, my main tool in this creation of life and business and everything. So I understand it from a tool perspective. But from a consumer perspective, I got really sick of all of them. So I deleted them. I've deleted them in the past and stuff, and I go back and forth. I still have all my accounts, but I just found myself getting wrapped up. Like algorithms are so much fucking smarter than us. Like they know what we're thinking better than we do. Um, so I got sick of just fucking scrolling and being sucked in. Um, so right now I'm not particularly fond of any of them, and for those reasons of like I'm not consuming right now, and I think it's a beautiful thing because I go in waves. Like I could give the cliche answer of yeah, like YouTube Shorts, blah blah. I don't really give a fuck about any specific platform. I'm like, okay, they're all free, they all do the same thing, different people are on it, so I have no real draw to either. I've made different amounts of money off of each specific platform, and I think they're all here to serve its own little purpose on the corner of the internet it serves. But yeah, right now I'm not. I do like Threads. I will say that because I think that's the most relevant social media platform conversation at this moment in time in 2023. Threads is dope. I think it'll crush. I'm excited to see what Twitter does as a response, minus the lawsuit that they just gave them. But yeah, I think everything. I think we're to answer the second part of your conversation, like kind of where's the future of social media going, what's going on. I think we're pretty stale right now, and I think some shit needs to change. I think we'll see some really cool different creators do some cool shit, cool platform do some cool shit, and shake it up. I think real connection, real events, real human just experiences is needed in a social media space. So I don't know how to blend all of that together, but whoever can create the best real human experiences within this is awesome. What I will talk about from a social media perspective is Humane. Have you seen them? HUMANE, the company?
I have not.
They are not a social media company. They're more of a new AI hardware company. So hardware as in hard tech and shirts and devices and everything you see in this physical world. So they're building their own AI from the ground up. It was one of the head Apple developers who left Apple. He pretty much built iPhone, built fucking everything for Apple, left. But it's a new company to seamlessly blend AI and the internet into just real life experience. So it's all wearable tech, and it's just a little thing that looks like pretty much this lock on the side of my shirt. It's kind of this big sideways. And there's holograms in it. It's just fucking a supercomputer you wear, just like this Aura ring or just like a watch. So I'm really excited about the blend of technology and our real lives together, because I think when humans and companies fucking understand, like, we aren't supposed to fucking wear TVs on our face like this all the time in VR and AR. I'm not a big like VR AR fan.
Neither am I. Yeah.
For that reason, because I don't want to wear a TV this close to my face. I like being outdoors. I like being in the real world. So, but to your point, I also love technology. I also love the internet. I also love social media. So all of these things, I'm excited to see kind of in the next 4, 5, 6 years, different technologies that we literally have never seen before come out. Again, Apple Vision Pro is a great example. Like, that's cool. I'll probably buy that because it's something completely new. But I don't think that's I don't think that's the direction necessarily we're going as a, I don't know, I guess a computing system. I think that's off the body, and it's a chance to blend true real life, physical life with the internet, with social media, with what AR, VR wants to build in the future. So as far as the future of social media, that's kind of where I'm thinking. That's a decade plus, but in like short term, yeah, nothing really excites me right now. I've stopped consuming a lot, and I'm kind of in hermit build mode, and I'm having fun in that world. So yeah, I just got distracted way too much on social, on the doom scroll of TikTok, Instagram, and again, every night I post, I still get fucking caught up a little bit, and that's why it's on a big ass inconvenient iPad. The more I can make social and these apps more inconvenient for me on a daily basis, So that's what works for me. And my thoughts on social media. That was very long-winded, but hope you
Yeah,
get some good content.
I'm with you on many different points. I'm not with the consumption of social media. It's detrimental to going back full circle, staying present in your life, right? It's horrible for your mental health on in some ways, not in all ways. The comparison game is something I have not bought into and I ever will buy into. This thing of, oh man, I feel like shit. Maybe it's because you're comparing yourself to all these things you see on social media, which is what people putting their best moments of their freaking life on these pages, where
Mm-hmm.
that's maybe 3 or 4 or 5 days of their year, and you think that's how they live their life, and then
Yep.
you are like, oh my god, I never have days like that, and this person lives their life like that every day. No, they went on vacation and took 157 photos, and now they're posting that every other day. Take me back. Oh yeah, dude. No, you know what I mean? It's become this contest of who can put up a facade better. You know what I mean? Who's better at posting this image that doesn't really exist? This perfect life, these great moments when you're sitting at a dinner with a family at a nice restaurant, you're celebrating an occasion, and everybody's on their phone posting pictures instead of just eating dinner with their family. Are they really eating dinner with their family, or are they trying to tell people that they're eating dinner with their family? You know what I mean? It's two totally different concepts. And that's something I don't subscribe to anymore. Yes, I take the picture because I want to capture the moment and everything. And at the same time, I make that a small part of the night or the event. I don't make it the point of the event is to put it on social media. The point of the event is to attend the event, and if I can get it on social media, that's great. That's just a plus, you know. So it's something I can't stand. One of the most irritating things to me is when I'm having a conversation with a person and they whip out the phone and it's like, dude, come on, you know what I mean? If you want to give someone your time, or someone is giving you their time, I should say, it's probably the most valuable thing they can give you is their time, right? Because they don't get that back. So just give them the courtesy. That's all I'm saying. So it has to do with, you know, coming full circle, just staying present. And I want to be as present as possible. I'm not the doom scroller. I check in with a few accounts I like here and there. And obviously, just like you know, I have a podcast and my business is basically on social media. So I do have to deal with it to work and post and things like that. Other than using it for business purposes, I'm with you. I'm not really on the consumer tip. So I can relate to you. As far as maybe my favorite platform, I do find myself liking Instagram and Threads a little more than TikTok. TikTok kind of
Yeah.
seems like just too cheesy to me. You know, it's a little too a little too not, I don't want to say Gen Z-ish, but yeah, kind of like Gen Z-ish.
I think it's one of the most powerful platforms. Like,
Definitely.
I,
It's where
I
you can go
think,
the fastest, that's for sure.
yeah, and I think like any platform that has a billion people on it is something to take serious. So
Right,
I'll just
definitely.
add this with like take it with a grain of salt of like, yes, I deleted everything, but it's like I only deleted it because I know how important social media is. I know how
Right.
important using it as a tool is, because it's the most powerful thing we have. It allows you to connect with billions of people. And there's only 8 billion people on the planet, so it's not like
Right.
there's a multiple billions, and it still allows you to connect with a lot of them. So take social media serious. Just don't let social media use you. And I think that's easier said
Yes.
than done. I say it all the time, and I get caught in the doom scrolls, and I'm fully aware of it, and I love it because the algorithm knows how to trigger every single dopamine receptor in your brain because it's smarter than you. But again, goes back to awareness. Be aware of it. Know when you're getting looped in. Try to suck yourself out. And it just comes down to your relationship with it, your perspective of it. Social media isn't evil. It's just our relationship with it. No one's forcing you to use it. So if they are, then we have other problems. But again, it's not social media's fault. No social media is, I don't think, evil or bad. It's just humans are really susceptible to really smart algorithms and smarter humans controlling what they see. And that's the scary part. So just have a good relationship with it, healthy relationship with it. There's no right or wrong answer to any of it. Use it, don't use it, delete it, keep it. It doesn't matter. Just find what works for you and keep doing that.
Yeah. I'm reminded of a concept. It's not so people mistakenly say that money is the root of all evil, right? And that's wrong. Greed is the root of all evil, right? So when you get greedy and it's about me, and whenever you obsess over something, and not even obsess, because you can obsess over something in a good way. Whenever you want something exclusively for yourself and you're selfish about it, and there's this thing like mine, like, you know, you got the Smeagol syndrome going on, like Lord of the Rings thing going on. That's kind of when things take a turn. Socrates said everything is good in moderation, and I try to live in that, and through that quote, because anytime I catch myself doing too much of one thing, I feel the effects of. I mean, balance is a joke, right? None of us have balance in our lives, but I feel the effects of it taking quality of life away from other parts of my life that are important to me, right? So everything is definitely good in moderation. So it's not so much that social media is evil, it's that you're letting it consume you and you're doing it too much. So I think if we take the dial from, you know, doing it 4 to 5 hours a day to maybe 1 hour a day or 30 minutes a day, the effects, you'll see positive effects in your life, you know? So that's what I've done. I've taken it from an 8 to a 1 and I use it with intention. I think intention is very, very important. Some people like to just walk around and, you know, aimlessly be zombies and not really have a purpose when they do things. And being intentional and knowing your intention when you walk into anything is, it could be a game changer if that's something you don't understand. So being intentional, super important for sure, especially with social media. So yeah, that's my take on it. Anyway, that's what I think. So Sam, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. Can't believe we've been on here an hour. Time flies. Just some closing questions. I usually ask my guests the same 3 questions before I let them go. So 1, what's something that inspires Sam Lister?
Smoking weed on my balcony with an open mind to let myself do whatever the fuck I want. That's
awesome.
Where I find inspiration most. And snowboarding and doing anything. So I'm inspired by, inspiration is simply a way of being. That's what I found recently. And I've been trying to tap into that source of inspiration as much as possible. So I've recently changed my perspective of being inspired. What does that mean? What does that look like? What does that feel like? I need to operate in a way of being to let inspiration come to me more than anything. And I've found, and I jokingly say smoke weed on my balcony, but that's where my mind is the most open. When I have nothing else going on, I have an open mind. I can let creative thoughts and that childlike wonder just go and see where it goes and see what ideas come to me. And I think being in that just beam of light, that beam of energy from the universe, as woo-woo as that sounds, it's true. And there's nothing else to explain it besides magic. Find that magic of inspiration, because that's the rocket fuel for life. That's the rocket fuel for creativity. So whatever you need to do to find that inspiration, so inspiration can come to you, that's the key. So whatever inspires other people, fucking find more of that. But for me, it's just having an open mind, and that's where my inspiration comes in. So long-winded, but ready to move on to the next question.
That's what a podcast is for. We got the whole hour, buddy. No worries. Question number 2, what's next for you?
Building honey wax. So that's my lifestyle passion, like just having fun, switching up the cultures in these spaces, because there's a lot of corporate takeover. So it's we want to go against the big boys and preserve the culture of snowboarding and skating and scootering and everything that we're passionate about. So that's just an everlong play. Eventually we'll build a compound for that, so we'll have our own little skate park and snowboard park and our own place. So that'll probably be a few years down the road, probably 3-5 years. Compound is going to be dope though. That's kind of what I'm building for right now. Helped my girlfriend launch her media company. So XO Media is a social media management company to help other businesses and podcasters and creators post and distribute their stuff onto social. And just continuing to help build Blank Slate, my original company that I sold majority of, still a minority owner of that. So continuing to kind of just monitor the creation space, the creator space. Excited to see where AI leads and different ways to use that in just my day-to-day. So that's really it though. Building companies, having fun more than anything, and just doing shit I love, listening to my soul more than anything else.
Man, listen to your soul, dude. That needs to be like, I think that might be a title to one of my books that I write. It's funny, my next book is called Soul of a Man. So yeah, it's a little different than my first book. It's a lot more intimate, and you get to peek into what goes on in in here. Not so much in here, but in here. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Listen to your soul, guys. That's the. I wish I could end it on that one, but I have one more question.
Let's do it.
So, Sam, last question. How do you want to be remembered?
A motherfucker who just listened to his soul. That's it. Like, yo, this
awesome.
dude just created some random shit that doesn't make sense to anyone else, but to myself, and just to live as true as possible to what I want to do and who I'm meant to be. And I have no idea those answers, but we're going to find out, and we're just going to keep living until we do.
Man, that's awesome. Sam, thank you so much. Appreciate you coming through. It was a lot of fun. We got to do this again sometime. Definitely call me when you're in Miami. We'll link up. Alrighty, guys. So that's another episode of the Montana Method Podcast with your host, Nelson Rodriguez Jr. Always remember, push it to the limit. The world is yours. And if you're not chasing a dream, life is meaningless, guys. Till the next one.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags.